Now welcome to another news from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Where's Crosshair?
What do you mean? What?
Well, we just had a really great Bad Batch arc.
Yes.
Where was our boy Crosshair? Where
Taking
was
the arc
he?
off. We didn't need him in this one.
Well,
He could have been the assassin. Instead we have
wasn't.
Clone X.
it was probably better that he wasn't the
No,
assassin.
it is definitely better he wasn't the assassin, yeah.
I don't think Crosshair is quite as much of a believer as he lets on.
I think he's having questions of faith. He's having some doubts.
But D. Bradley Baker just did an interview on StarWars.com talking about some surprises upcoming for the Bad Batch. He says, "Buckle up, Buttercup."
So,
I had a
spoilers
Buttercup.
for Bad Batch up through episode 8. We probably will talk about that. So I think we just did, didn't we?
Oh, well, we just said, where is he? And
Well, yeah, I
And
kind of
you
mentioned
mentioned
he's,
it.
yeah.
You-
Though there will
you
not
are-
have to be a spoiler or warning at the front. I know.
you always make things rough on me. D. Bradley in this interview did talk a little bit. He was asked about Crosshair, where the story for him might be going. He said, "His story becomes very, very interesting. My favorite episode is a Crosshair episode. It's coming up about 3/4 of the way through. A few episodes out yet.
I like that even he calls them Crosshair episodes. He knows.
It's a really interesting story, and his own personal journey is particularly interesting to me. It's a real standout this season. Crosshair is this interesting, coiled snake of a guy who's got a very odd, contrary opinion and viewpoint of things. I mean, his job is not only to hit things from a stealth distance, but I think he views the world and other people from that distance as well, and because of that, he's an interesting character. His voice is the quietest of all the Bad Batch, certainly, but he's not arch. He's not pure evil. He's ultimately a rational guy, and there's some humanity in there too."
So that should be coming up soon.
Well, he says 3/4 of the way through, and we just hit halfway.
Yeah.
So we're
About episode
close.
12. Yeah.
I want to see what they do with him, because he has to be having some moral qualms about what he's been doing.
Yeah, I think the Cody episode shows that he has had some changes of heart. As you pointed out, he didn't have an issue with Cody not following the order, which he should have. Mm-hmm. Which even earlier in that same episode,
He protected him.
He did. It did feel like he protected him. And earlier in the episode, he was talking about how the clones are traitors, and I think he got a different point of view from Cody.
I think so too. I think he started to remember, working with his brothers, being part of a team, and everything that's good and comes along with it.
Yeah, we constantly kind of see him sitting alone and kind of contemplating in deep thought. I mean, that episode wasn't the first time we've kind of just seen him sitting there thinking and
Because
wondering.
he's probably looking back on his decisions.
Yeah, he's wondering, am I the baddie? Did I betray my brothers? Are they the ones doing the right thing right now?
That is a lot to think about for him. He's been alone. Clones aren't meant to be alone. Even someone like him who's like, I want to be alone, he doesn't want to be alone.
No one, I don't think anybody really, really wants to be alone. And even if you do like being alone, you probably wish you didn't want to be alone, if that makes any sense at all.
Deep down on the inside.
Well, I know there are people who are introverts and can't take a lot of social interaction necessarily.
But that doesn't mean you don't want social interaction
exactly,
at all.
that's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody wants to be a loner. It is something that you either are forced into or your brain forces you into, essentially.
It's interesting how he says that Crosshair views things from a distance. I wonder if that could mean that he can see where the Empire is going before the others.
Perhaps.
If he's looking at things from a distance, he could probably, an outsider's perspective sometimes yields really interesting.
Yeah, anytime you can take a step back. It's when you're a believer one way or the other that you kind of miss the big picture, I think.
When you lock everything else out.
Yeah, when you're not open to looking at a different point of view, yeah, that's dangerous.
It does feel like Crosshair might be desperately looking for a path forward while staying within the Empire. He doesn't want to betray the Empire, but he knows deep down, especially now with Cody having gotten out of there. I assume Cody took the Rex path.
Yeah.
With Cody getting out of there, he's looking for a path forward. He doesn't know what his options are, and the fact that now they're going to be phasing out the clones, we don't know what that means.
Yeah, and
what does it mean to phase them out if they've got no representation on the Senate?
Yeah, they made a big deal out of that, which they should, because that's an interesting perspective. Who is kind of arguing for the clones? We've got Chuchi and Chuchi. But I mean, we saw in this last episode about how the clones want to fight. That's what they were bred to do. That's what they were born and made to do, essentially. So Crosshair has that in him as well. It's got to be that fear of, like, if I leave the Empire, if I leave or stopping a good soldier, following orders. Like, who am I? What am I?
Right.
What purpose
we saw
do I
that
have?
when Chi went to the clone bar. And
yeah, they were all like,
they were against her.
What do you mean retire? Like, we just want to keep, our retirement is to fight another battle.
I'm a soldier. I'll keep fighting. And she's like, what do you do when you're too old? And that's when it hit them. Like,
yeah, I love that scene.
What do we do when we're old? They don't know.
Yeah, because I think that was the first time some of them really contemplated, like, oh yeah, you're right. We are gonna. I mean, not that they don't think about it ever, or it doesn't cross their mind, but I think the first time you're like, oh, I am going to get old. I can't fight forever.
And what will the Empire do with you?
Yeah,
they'll just let you struggle off on your own somewhere. Because you have no representation. Say
what you will about the Kenobi series, but I did love the scene with the clone trooper, kind of on the street begging. That was
it was hard.
It's heartbreaking. Yeah, if you've watched Clone Wars, and even if you haven't, you can feel for somebody who's in that position. You can understand what probably happened to the clones.
Part of me is afraid of what's going to happen. I mean, think of it from, I guess, Palpatine's point of view. The Republic at the time bought these people. They paid for their creation. Yes. They paid for it. And now they're, expecting to have to pay for their...
I know. Well, that was the big sticking point,
stuff, right? When they get old and they need to retire and they need to find new jobs, the Empire's expected to provide provisions for them. Empire's not going to do that.
Well, they don't want to. I mean, any kind of decent society would.
I have a horrible feeling that they'll dispose of them.
Well, yeah.
And not in a
There's
nice,
no pension
we're
plan.
just going to put them out on the streets and whatever. That would be nice compared to what I think the Empire will do with clones.
They're going to do nothing with them. They're going to let them, if not exterminate them.
I think they're going to kill them.
Well, I've always wondered if there is, what if there's another order stuck in their heads that makes them turn on each other or themselves even.
Maybe. Or something in them that they can just shut off.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying.
Turn their brains
like a
off
switch.
And boom, done. Goodbye, clones.
Yeah.
They have no one except Chuchi now looking out for them, which means the worst can happen to them because they're seen as the same as droids.
Yes, they even kind of get compared to it. I mean, she says, Chuchi even says, they're not droids that you can just turn off. These are living beings. You may have made them in a lab, quote unquote, but they're still living beings now. Now they're your responsibility.
So there's a lot going forward. I think Crosshair could be the key to seeing what's going to happen with the clones, which might make it why Dee Bradley's favorite episode is a Crosshair episode.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be seeing the outcome of these Senate decisions. Are they just going to use the clones to train new soldiers and then bump them off, get rid of them? Because they're being replaced.
Yeah, they were kind of doing that with Crosshair already. They wanted him to train.
It was a test, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, do you want me to train my replacement? There's no worse feeling than being told, this is the person that's going to replace you. Please teach them everything you know so we don't need you anymore. Oh, yeah, I'll get right on that. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dee Baker goes on to explain, the adventures, twists of plots, and turns of fate that are coming will be unexpected. Some will be welcome and some will not. But it's a heck of a ride. I think fans are going to be very happy with where this season goes. It's an exciting thing to be part of and to experience with a fresh mind, not knowing what you're going to see or what's going to happen. Because that for me was always the part of the thrill of Star Wars, tracking back to the original Episode 4 and even Episode 5. The best thing is being surprised and knocked out by something that you haven't seen or didn't expect. And there's a lot of that coming your way, so buckle up, because here it comes.
Good.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean,
yeah.
I want to know where this is going. I mean, we've pretty much run out of trailer footage to analyze. Unless they do a mid-season trailer, which they could do a mid-season trailer. They've done them in the past.
I hope they don't, because I don't want anything from the back half spoiled. And I know there are people out there who have seen many more episodes. The final two, I don't believe anybody got their hands on early, but I don't want to know. I want to go into this blind.
Let's go into the episode, The Clone Extermination.
Yeah. Do we have the titles of the last two episodes? Not that I want to know them, but...
all of them, yeah.
Well, they did release all of them. I don't know if it was just the 14 of the 16 or all of them.
I think all of the titles were released.
Well, I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to go into those last two.
Because now we've got speculations in our head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to a sad story today.
What, Crosshair's eventual fate isn't a sad story?
Not as sad as this story, because this is real.
Oh, you mean like a real sad story? Okay.
Yes.
My bad.
Peter Mayhew's wife is devastated. His wife, Angie, has recently opened up that there's a sale going on of Peter's Star Wars memorabilia. There's an auction house, Rydale Auctioneers. They're going to be selling Peter Mayhew's attic stuff after he passed away. Some of the memorabilia are including Star Wars scripts and call sheets. She went on Twitter, and here's what she said. She said, when we moved out of this house, Peter's movement challenges made it impossible for him to get into the attic to get the rest of these memories. It really breaks my heart to see our belongings auctioned off. It was one of Peter's and my biggest regrets that we had to leave these items behind. His knees and joints had gotten so painful he was no longer able to get into the attic to get them. Sadly, I mean, she has communicated apparently to the auction house stuff that they want those items, if they can, be returned to the Mayhew family. They were found in their old house after the new occupants decided to look through the attic and discovered quite a few things from Peter's career as Chewbacca, like signed photographs and scrapbooks. It is sad to think that they couldn't move these things.
This is tricky because it almost feels like they didn't remember. Peter Mayhew, great guy. I don't want to talk
they were going
bad
through
about
a
him
lot.
or anything, but no, he had some major health problems at the end.
And
so
he probably forgot that they were in the attic. I'm sure they had movers and they forgot to mention, hey, there's stuff up there I need you to bring, or they couldn't go up there to even box them.
Well, I mean, again, it's tricky, but you got to imagine Peter Mayhew could have found someone to go up in the attic and get them for him, or his wife.
He probably did forget that they were there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, unfortunately, you sell a house, you leave something in the house.
It's not yours
anymore. It's not yours anymore, yeah.
It's just terribly sad.
Yeah, I mean...
To think that they forgot something like this that means that much to her, to see it being auctioned off.
Yeah, you want to believe that whoever purchased the home would do the right thing and return them at the same time. Again, that is now technically their stuff.
Yep, and they're auctioning it.
Yeah.
Which is within their rights to do.
It is, yes.
It's just, like I said, it's terribly sad.
Yeah. I mean, I want to believe most people would be like, oh, you wanted this back, and here you go. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not everybody. And I get there's probably a lot of value in this.
They probably didn't realize that they wanted the stuff back. That probably thought the same as we did. Why would you leave something behind that's valuable like this? Yeah, so now they're going to have... There's going to be conversations about this now. Because, of course, it's all over Twitter. I mean...
Yeah, that's...
You got a sad wife pining after things that were her husband's.
Yeah, I would be if you left something in the attic of this house and something terrible happened and I moved and I would want it back, of course. So I completely get what she's going through here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I told you I had a sad story.
Yeah, we have a good bad batch and they're like, by the way, Chewie lost his stuff. It's like, what? No, that's I don't know. Like I said, it's tricky because I mean I'm no lawyer, but legally if you leave something behind, it is now belongs to the new homeowner. So
we got in our house. They left behind a fly swatter. It's ours.
Yeah, she left behind some other stuff too, which she could have taken with her. But
yeah, you mean the trash we had to throw out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
But whatever. All right, well that is all we got for this time. So your turn to either take to the comments below and tell us what you think about D. Bradley's comments about Crosshair, or tell us what you think about this really unfortunate situation with the Peter Mayhew estate, essentially. What would you do if you found that in your attic? There'd probably be one thing I would ask to keep, and I would want to return the rest. That would be me. I'd be like, hey, you know what? Take all this, but can I get this one picture or this one thing here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's me. So take to the comments below. Tell us what you do. Tell us what you think. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.